Hello. It is a special honor to welcome you to this first virtual America's Award ceremony. My name is Suzanne Shadle. It is my privilege to work with a tremendous team of librarians in the Hispanic Division at the Library of Congress. Together, we work to improve access to diverse publications written in Spanish, Portuguese, English, and many Indigenous languages. As we reach the end of National Hispanic Heritage Month, we invite you to learn more about our services at www.loc.gov/rr/Hispanic. Right now, from our homes to yours, it is a collective honor to welcome you to the America's Award ceremony. I want to keep my comments brief so you can enjoy hearing more about and from the authors and illustrators we honor with this year's America's Award. But thanks are in order. First, to our distinguished authors and illustrators, Tony Johnson, Maria Elena Fontano de Rhodes, Mitali Perkins, Sarah Palacios, Isabel Quintero, Zeke Peña, Aida Salazar, and Rebecca Balcarcel. Thank you for sharing your stories with us. Second, I'm grateful to the Consortium of Latin American Studies Programs, better known as CLASP, for recognizing the importance of creative works that engage young people with stories about and from Latin America, the Caribbean, and Latino communities in the United States. Children's and young adult books are tremendous gateways to learning and understanding, and it has been a pleasure to collaborate with Denise Woltering and Colleen McCoy on this event in the past and present. We look forward to the future. Finally, mil gracias to Danny Thurber, Darian Rivera, Danita Stenberg, and a number of others working behind the scenes at the Library of Congress to make this ceremony and recording possible. It is always a good day and night when people from different places with diverse experiences and skills come together to enjoy stories with one another. Please enjoy the event and accept my invitation to look for connections between these books and other resources at the Library of Congress. You can start from home by visiting loc.gov. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to turn over the microphone and the camera. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Denise Woltering Vargas from Tulane University's Stone Center for Latin American Studies, and I'm joined here today with my colleague Colleen McCoy from Vanderbilt University's Center for Latin American Studies. Together, we coordinate the America's Award for Children's and Young Adult Literature. On behalf of the Consortium of Latin American Studies Programs, or CLASP, we would like to welcome you to the first virtual America's Award ceremony. Thank you to our partners in the Hispanic Division of the Library of Congress, with special thanks to Suzanne Shadle and Danny Thurber for making this program possible today. The support from the Library of Congress over the history of the award has provided us with this unique opportunity to celebrate diverse children's and young adult literature at the national level. The America's Award encourages and commends authors, illustrators, and publishers who produce quality children's and young adult books that portray Latin America, the Caribbean, or the Latinx community in the United States, and provides teachers with recommendations for classroom use. The goal of this award is to link the Americas to reach beyond geographic borders, focusing instead on cultural heritages within the hemisphere.
The America's Award was founded in 1993 by Julie Klein, Associate Director at the Center for Latin American and Caribbean Studies at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. The award is one of the most important outreach projects supported by CLASP. CLASP is made up of a network of universities nationwide and holds the mission of promoting all facets of Latin American studies throughout the world. Up to 2 annual awards are given in recognition of U.S. published works. Books are judged for their distinctive literary quality, cultural contextualization, exceptional integration of text, illustration, and design, and potential for classroom use. The review committee can also choose to recognize honor titles and commended titles. Again, thank you so much for joining us. And now we hope you enjoy hearing more about the books recognized by this year's Americas Award. Congratulations to the 2020 Americas Award honor titles. My Papi Has a Motorcycle, written by Isabel Quintero and illustrated by Zeke Peña.
Greetings, friends. My name is Zeke Peña. I am the illustrator of My Papi Has a Motorcycle, or Mi Papi Tiene una Moto, written by author and my good friend, Isabel Quintero. Isabel couldn't send in a video right now because she is taking care of her brand new baby boy, which is really exciting news, and she asked me to read something that she wrote for y'all. Buenas tardes. I apologize for not submitting a video. I am a new mother and just getting the hang of mothering and being a writer. I'm actually writing this on my phone while I rock a sleepy baby. So I hope y'all will understand. I'm so excited that My Papi Has a Motorcycle received honorable mention for the Americas Award. When I wrote the book, I wanted to honor one of my favorite childhood memories with my dad, riding on the back of his motorcycle after he got home from work. But almost 10 years after writing the first draft, the book evolved into honoring much more than that. Sometimes it takes a while for a story to tell you what it wants. In this case, it wanted to honor the city I grew up in, as well as the migrants who helped put it on the map with their labor in the citrus groves, and the Black and brown men, like my father, who've spent their lives building the homes and buildings and the cities we live in, the roads we drive on. That is to say, those who've built this country. Those workers who are often made invisible under the shadow of the companies they work for and the buildings they erect. But without their hands, there'd be no buildings. There'd be no country. While the book is a love letter to my father and the city I grew up in, I also hope to show some of the love for those who work with their hands, like my father, and the love we can have for our home, whatever it may be, wherever it may be. So thank you for honoring our book, because though the story was mine, it wasn't finished until Zeke illustrated it. I want to thank Zeke for embracing this story and giving it the love it deserved, and making it more beautiful than I could have imagined, not just with the illustrations, but also the edits. Thanks to my agent, Peter Steinberg, for his hard work in helping find a home for it, to Kokila for being that home, and to my editor, Namrata Chirpathi, for believing in it and helping me make it better. And thank you to the Consortium of Latin American Studies programs for giving us this honor. Also, thank you to all the folks, especially the Black and brown folks, the laborers working with their hands, making this country great, who rarely get the recognition or pay they deserve. Lastly, may those that murdered Breonna Taylor be arrested, and may our country find its way. So I just want to second all of the thank yous that Isabel expressed. I'm very grateful to all the people who have, purchased our book, who have checked it out of a library, who have borrowed it from friends, who are reading it to their young ones who are reading it to their parents and elders and guardians. We're just really grateful that people have come along on the ride with Daisy, Ramona, and Papi and had a good time reading it in the same way that Isabel and I had in making it. I'm so grateful to Isabel for giving me the honor of being able to tell this story visually and collaborate with her on it. I'm very grateful to her papi, to her mommy, to her brother and her family for sharing this part of their lives and their history with me and with all of us, right? These stories are important, and they're important to document. I'm thankful to our family at Kokila. I'm thankful to Peter Steinberg, who helped us find a home for this book. And I'm really grateful to the Consortium of Latin American Studies programs for all the people doing work in libraries and in classrooms, in collections, for helping bring, these stories to light. We're thankful for the platform. We're thankful for your time and your energy. And I'm really grateful for this honor. I look forward to seeing you all in person. Peace and health to you and your family. Thank you.
The Moon Within by Ida Salazar.
Hello, my name is Aida Salazar. I am the author of the middle grade verse novel, The Moon Within. And I am here to say thank you. Thank you so much to the Consortium of Latin American Studies programs who has given my book, this one right here, an America's Award honorable mention. I'm grateful because The Moon Within has not been without its controversies. It has received pushback and has been silently censored by many gatekeepers. And why? Because it's a story about menstruation. It's a story about being an ally to your gender-expansive friends. It's a story told through Afro-Boricua Chicana living in Oakland, California. And somehow that is dangerous. Somehow that is not in line with the dominant narrative that has told us that menstruation is dirty, to be feared or ignored. And instead, it provides a narrative that is uplifting, that is beautiful, that is empowering, and loving. In the end, loving. And it clashes with that dominant negative narrative. But not only does it clash, I think it pushes back. And it pushes back with love. I wrote it as an act of love for my daughter who was blossoming and beginning to ask questions about what her body was experiencing. And when I took her to the library to try and find something in fiction, we couldn't find any stories about menstruation. The only one, of course, that we were able to find was Judy Blume's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. But that book was written in 1971, 50 years ago. And so I wrote The Moon Within for her, not knowing that this would be the first time that the Latinx community would see itself represented with the topic of menstruation, and not knowing that this was the first time that we were going to see a gender fluid child in middle grade fiction as well. So, sometimes when you create with love, you don't know the ramifications or the ripples that creation will have. And I'm so grateful that even though it's received some pushback, it has received this honor. And I'm so grateful to have received it. Thank you so much.
The Other Half of Happy by Rebecca Balcarcel.
Hola, everyone. I'm Rebecca Balcarcel, and I'm incredibly pleased to have The Other Half of Happy selected to be honorably mentioned for the 2020 Americas Award. When I set out to write this book, I wanted to chronicle what it was like to grow up bicultural in the United States. But I also wanted to write a tribute to the cultural richness of Guatemala and even Spanish literature. Quijana's dad, for example, will quote Ortega y Gasset, the philosopher, and also Cervantes, the novelist, and even Gustavo Adolfo Becker, the poet. Quijana is actually named after Don Quixote, and her family is hanging paintings of Lake Atitlan at the very beginning of the book. Now, in real life, my father does quote Spanish poetry, and my mother always made sure to display paintings and weavings and pottery of Guatemalan artists. And so it was only right that when the box of books arrived from Chronicle, the final copies of The Other Half of Happy, it was only right that I took that box to my parents' house and we opened it together. I have to say, there were a couple of tears in the room. And a tribute to Guatemala was definitely part of what everyone felt as we pulled the books out. So thank you. Thank you, committee, for your continuous reading over this year and your willingness to serve students and teachers, librarians, everyone who will be pointed toward these books because of this award and your effort. And let's never forget that this book work that we all do is nothing less than soul saving. Reader by reader, we're touching people's hearts and through that, touching the world. So thank you again. Muchísimas gracias. From my heart to yours. Much thanks.
And now, congratulations to the 2020 Americas Award winners. Between Us and Abuela, written by Matali Perkins and illustrated by Sara Palacios.
Thank you so much for this Americas Award. When we first arrived in California as immigrants decades ago, there was no fence between San Diego and Mexico. There was some barbed wire, but Mrs. Pat Nixon, the First Lady at the time, asked her Secret Service agents to cut it, as she established Friendship Park as a place for people from both countries to meet, greet, and eat. Fast forward to now with xenophobia on the rise. For 25 years, Mexicans and Americans have met in Friendship Park to celebrate a traditional festival, La Posada Sin Fronteras. People on both sides of the border sing responsively across the wall in a joint worship service to celebrate Las Posadas. Each year, this event becomes more difficult. Last December, Friendship Park on the San Diego side was completely closed, so we celebrated in a park far from our brothers and sisters in Tijuana. I used antithesis in Between Us and Abuela, juxtaposing two incongruous things to invite a reader's eyes and hearts to see differently. First, a festival about finding room at the inn for a holy child collides with a high wall built to keep visitors out. What will happen? As Maria closes her eyes to listen to Abuela sing from the other side of the wall, for a moment the fences are invisible. Second, art created by the powerless collides with the inflexible legalism of the state. What will happen? One Border Patrol officer, after considering Juan's picture, relents to allow a vital exception to the rule of nothing passing across the fence. Will this happen in real life? Maybe, maybe not. I do know that art, especially art created by the oppressed, has a mysterious power to change societies. Give me the songs of a nation and it doesn't matter who writes its laws, said Damon of Athens. The best poetry, the best paintings are written from the margins of power. My favorite response to this book is hearing that someone got choked up while reading it. No tears for the writer, no tears for the reader, Robert Frost wrote. When it comes to this adopted country that I love, rescinding hospitality for the tempest-tossed foreigner, tears are the only right response. Thank you again for this award. It means the world to me.
Beast Rider by Toni Johnston and Maria Elena Fontenot de Rhodes.
Hello, I am Toni Johnston in Smoky, California, and I would like to tell you a little about Beast Rider. In our book, Manuel, age 12, rides atop a deadly dangerous freight train, La Bestia, heading north in search of his brother. This is a story about family. Manuel's blood family and another kind of family. Unknown to each other but woven together by circumstances, these people help him along his way. There is Gabriel, Senor Santos, meaning saints, Serafina of the Golden Soup, the train lady, Mr. James Ito, even the coyote, El Alacran. Maria Elena and I created this book to illuminate the plight of people. Old people, young, fathers, mothers with babies, children alone, who have no choice but to make this terrible trip, seeking their loved ones or safety or just something better. We hope to show their desperation as well as their determination to succeed. Marilena and I created this book for just that reason. We also wanted to speak about how people view each other. Many have misconceptions and misgivings about foreigners, or about those who seem different from themselves. In Beast Rider, Mr. James Ito represents such a person, Taketora James Tanaka. James Tanaka, the name I knew him by, was a Japanese American and member of the U.S. 442nd Infantry, called the Purple Heart Battalion, for their bravery and in memory of their many gone. My recollection is that because of World War II, and because they were different, James and his family were sent to an internment camp. Still, he fought for his country and won high honors. Later, James became our gardener. I can still see him in his khakis, a hero, standing quietly among the roses. With other geography and other details, Beast Rider could be a story from anywhere in the world, about all those who, for whatever reason, are taken from their families and their homelands. We hope that our characters inspire empathy for them because of their hardships and courage, and that they reflect beneath the patina of their culture and experience, not how different people are from one another, but how much they are alike. With exuberance, Marilena and I thank our agent, Susan Cohen of Writers House, our editor, Howard Reeves, our publisher, Abrams, the writers group called the Lunch Bunch, the Library of Congress, our host in absentia, and the America's Award organization for this honor. Mil gracias. 1,000 thanks.
Special thanks to the 2020 America's Award Review Committee. And thank you to each of our sponsors from the Consortium of Latin American Studies programs. For a complete list of recognized titles and other online resources, visit claspprograms.org/Americas Award.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this year's virtual pre-recorded America's Award ceremony. Many thanks to the authors and illustrators recognized today for gifting us with their work and their heartfelt messages during this program. My name is Yanni Thurber, and as a reference librarian, I invite you to visit the library's electronic resources during this time of online engagement and virtual learning, particularly our research guides found in guides.loc.gov/Hispanic. Librarians are here to assist you access the library's collections and discover Caribbean, Iberian, Latin American, and Latinx treasures. Lastly, a final thank you to our partners in class, Colleen McCoy and Denise Woltering Vargas, who coordinate the America's Award each year, as well as our library's events team, Darian Rivera, Danita Stenberg, and Liliana Lopez, for working behind the scenes to bring this program to you. We look forward to seeing you at the next year's America's Award ceremony. Take care and be safe.